Hey Bookends! Welcome to a 10-minute
You gonna cut that part out? This already has started? Go ahead.
Two's back! Yay! You can tell. So welcome to a 10-minute book review. I'm 10.
I'm back.
2.
2.
So
Today.
Yay! Together!
Again.
Yay!
Kermit. Yes!
Oh, yes. Muppet yay! Muppet yay! So, today's book review is going to be on
I don't even know how to pronounce her name.
Cyntoia Brown.
Okay.
You can say the name.
Okay, but you said it.
Free Cyntoia by Cyntoia Brown-Long. And do you want to hold it up so people can see it better?
Let me see. Okay, there we go.
So
there she is.
This is the book that we got when we went to go see her speak.
There you go.
So every book review we like to start off with a star point, as in out of 10 stars, how many stars this book honor, and also a rating, as in if this was a movie, what would it be rated. So since this is an autobiography, it feels kind of hard giving it stars because
you can give an autobiography stars.
But whether it's good
like,
or bad is somebody's life. Like if someone lived a horrible...
Understandable. But it's like, you know, other documentaries.
So I guess I'll give it a 10 because it is well written. It wasn't that great of a life, but the book itself is well written because it's like conversational the way that it's written. I don't know. I had a hard time giving it a star point just because it was somebody's life, so I didn't feel like I could judge it. But I guess just from writing alone, I would say that it is a 10. And then for a rating, I would say probably... So some rated R stuff happens, but the way it's explained is very PG-13. And I think that if she had any hand in this becoming a movie or like a movie for television or something, it would probably be a PG. Because she wants... The way she writes it, it's like she wants as many children or young adults to be able to read it and understand it. And so there's not a lot of cursing or... heavily explained sexual things, but there are a lot of situations that could be considered scary. So I would say if she had anything to do with it, it would probably be a PG-13 if it ever became a movie. PG-13 or PG.
PG-13.
Yeah, because I'm sure like all like the harder things would be cut out because the harder things in the book.
Unless you put harder things that's in there, and then it would become rated R. Yeah,
that's as if she had a hand in it. Then it would definitely be like a PG-13. If she had no hand in it, then the stuff that happened to her would be definitely an R. So going into the book, like just jumping right on in, there are no players because it is a autobiography. So everybody is just a real person. So it starts off with Cyntoia. Actually, the first chapter in the book is her being sentenced, where she's like sitting down and thinking to herself, like, okay, I killed someone, that's a bad thing, but I'm sure they'll understand the circumstances behind this bad thing happening, and maybe I'll get 5 years, maybe 15, and she's planning in her head what she's going to do 15 years from now. She's been saying, like, I'll go home with mommy and, you know, stuff like that. And when the jurors announced that she got life, she was like, it took the air out of her. So when we move into the next part of the book, it basically starts telling about how when she was younger, so she's adopted. Her parents' age are like grandparents' age, because when she was adopted, her parents were like in their 50s. But her birth mother was like an alcoholic or a drug addict, and so she couldn't take care of her, and so she was adopted by her adoptive parents when she was a baby. Her for real mom is white. Her for real dad is believed to be black, but she doesn't know him. And so life was okay for her because she had two basically retired parents who loved her and loved each other. Then she got into school, and it was like the other kids were like, why does your hair look like that? Are you white? And no one had ever asked her, was she white before? Because she's, you know, around black parents. You know, if you're around your mom and dad, you don't ask, why don't I look like you if you're like a little person.
Kids are cruel though.
They are cool. She was like 5 when she started school, which is like the regular age for starting school. She didn't do preschool because no need. Retired parents. So basically her entire school career was her feeling like she did not fit in because of how she looked, and also her trying to fit in with something. And I think that's really the duality of the book. A person who fits in nowhere, but who is doing everything to find somewhere where they fit. It's like a square, it's like a square peg, but someone cut the edges off of it. So now it's still a square peg, but it has round edges, so it's not really fitting in the circle part. It's also not fitting in the square part, because she's black and she's white, so she doesn't really fit in with white people because she's not a white person. But she's so light that the black people she was around that weren't family were cruel to her. So yeah.
Society.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is weird. She starts talking about the stupid things that she did, and I say stupid because she even acknowledged that the things she did didn't make sense, but she did them. And she starts talking about them in a very candid way. She doesn't glorify anything that she did, but some of the things that stand out to me when she was younger, she said that when she was a kid, she watched porn. Not because anyone, was telling her it was a good thing or a bad thing, but she watched it, and she would do it in a way where her parents couldn't see her doing it. And she didn't mention that it made her feel sexually aroused or anything like that. It just was
curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity. And she said she'd even watch it when she was home alone, just watching it. And so in her mind, as a young child, I think she started watching around 9. And so in her mind, she figured this is how sex works. 2 people literally meet. They have a sexual encounter, and then it is done. And so when she was 12, she said she lost her virginity when she was 12 because she was just... Okay, so what happened was she was at a phone booth trying to make a phone call, trying to call her mom to come get her from somewhere. And a guy was like, hey, you can use my cell phone. And so she walked over to him, a guy who was older than her, of course. She got in his car. He started touching on her because she said she developed early. So he started touching on all of her parts. And she said she didn't stop him because this is just, from what she had seen, how stuff works. And they ended up having sex on the floor of his car. And I think he did let her use his phone or something. But that was how she figured things went. And so from that point on, she would barter sex for things. And it didn't bother her because she didn't associate sex with intimacy or sex with love. Sex was just an act that was done between 2 people. She didn't even mention whether or not she enjoyed sex. It was just, this is currency. Like, I don't enjoy the $5 bill in my hand. It's a $5 bill in my hand, so I'm going to go spend it on something. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so that's how she interpreted sex. And so right now, like, if my mom had to raise my son, he has a cell phone. So, God forbid, but if he was looking at porn on his cell phone with the volume down, not doing it all the time, they wouldn't know.
I think she should have talked about it.
She should have.
That's what I'm saying.
But who does that at 9, though? Like, who?
I think a good thing would have been to do was to start to actually explain to her certain things, because that curiosity is there. You can start to see there's differences when it comes down to kids. The slightest little hints start to develop if you're paying attention.
I think when people get older, they get tired. Like, because how my mom is with Luke is not how she was, I should say, with me. Because when she was with me, she was in her 20s and 30s. And so it's like, she had the energy of, what you doing? Why you doing it, though? As opposed to when she has my baby, it's like, okay, well, just don't do that. Okay, well, he spent $20 online. $20 online, whose money? Your money. Sorry. Like, Mom! Why didn't you take the iPad away from him? He was so happy.
Oh, Lord.
But I think when people get older, they get tired, And so they don't have the same energy to be the same helicopter or hawk parent that they were before.
Well, some are and some aren't. I'm just going to say it like that.
But imagine being like 50 or 60, not even 50. Imagine being 60 years old with a brand new baby.
I don't think that, I'm not trying to be, it's good that she had a nice bringing up with good parents.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the best decision because the age for the parents. I'm sorry.
I don't think it was the best. I think it was the best thing for her, but I don't think it was the best thing for them.
Exactly, exactly. Because given that situation, it would have been better if she would have just gone to someone else. Well, I mean, you don't know what her life would have been like then, though.
Maybe her home life would have been bad.
It very much so. It's always possible because you don't know what you're dealing with. This is foster life, adoption. You don't know what kind of people that you're meeting who just have a smile on their face.
I think in the end, because her mother, like even when she was incarcerated, her mother stuck with her. Like her mother could have been like, well, that was a mistake. I'm in my 80s now. I'm just gonna go live my life. But no, it's like, okay, well, no, my child, because it's mine, made mistakes, and so now I'm just gonna rock this out with her. I'll probably be dead by the time she gets out of prison, so I'm just gonna rock it out because she got life,
right?
So I'm just gonna rock out the rest of my life with her until I expire. But yeah, so she makes a lot of bad decisions, and a lot of them are around sex and people. Yeah, and she pardon me, gets in with the wrong crowd, and she ends up meeting a guy who she thought was really nice. I think his name was Mike. So she meets a guy, I think his name is Mike, white dude, and he treats her what she considers nice. As an adult, you can see that he's not nice. He's kind of training her. Pardon me, from an adult aspect, you can see she's training her. If I was a child in the same position as she was, I would think, wow, he is really nice. Not that he's grooming. That's what it is, grooming her for something. So yeah,
would you say that she was okay? Oh boy, naive. You could say
I would
naive.
say she was heavily naive because she just wanted love at that point. Not the love from her parents, because she felt like that was just something that was given, but love from someone who didn't have to love her. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, because I'm only saying it because her life has a lot of similarities within my own life. And there was this guy who was in a car, and he had this woman with him, and he was trying to.
Is it something you want to share?
I don't mind sharing it.
Okay.
He tried to do the same thing. And the woman that was with him, he called her his bottom curse word. And I'm just like,
there's a lot of curse words.
The B one.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm not repeating that. But he was like, well, yeah, I can get you clothes. You can stay in this particular house with a lot of my other girls. And I'm thinking, what in the world he talking about?
But he got her to start doing other things sexually that she wasn't prepared to do, but she did them. And that was kind of like the grooming thing, so she could do that on other men. And then he told her, like, okay, if you just have sex with a couple of dudes, just a couple, we'll get up enough money for us to move to, I believe, Las Vegas, and we can buy a house, and we can live our life, and we can be happy. It will just be the two of us. And so in her 16-year-old mind,
she wants to make him happy.
Yeah, and she's like, I only have to do this bad thing.
Did she really say bad thing, though? Or did she just feel like...
Yeah, because she felt like that was... She didn't mind having sex.
That's why I'm saying...
But the prostitution. Like, because she was still a church type of girl. And so she felt as though this was where the line was being pushed. Having sex because you want to have sex is one thing. But having sex for money, that's the bad... And see, that's the child demarcation. As an adult, it's like, it is what it is. Like, I'm going to get something regardless because my body isn't free. But as a child, it's like, ooh, I'd rather just have sex for free and get nothing out of it as opposed to have sex for money.
It's the love word.
Yeah, as an adult, it's like, listen. This is a barter system. This is a barter system, my dude. What am I getting? Nothing? There's no dinner? There's no breakfast?
Oh, God.
There's no... The store is closed. The store is closed. We're no longer bartering.
Oh, God. Do I put on my shades now and pretend like...
But is it a lie? Have I lied? Have I lied? As an adult, you know that everything's a barter system. But she felt like, okay, well, if Mike wants me to do this, it can't be too bad. She didn't want to keep doing it. She told him that she didn't want to keep doing it. I don't even think she wanted to leave him per se. I think she just wanted to stop being a prostitute. I think she wanted to stop the pimp hoe relationship and just have a relationship or nothing at all. And he was like, well, this is what it is. This is who you are, and this is what you're going to do.
And that's what I'm saying about the guy as far as relationship wise. Even though this is not a relationship.
As an adult, we know this isn't a relationship. This is an employee-employer relationship, but you're just providing the employer. It's like a baker who bakes cookies for their boss, and the boss eats the cookies, but they also bake cookies for clients too. That's basically what it was. She was having sex with other people because he wanted her to have sex with other people, and she was also being sexually used by him as well. It doesn't really spend a lot of time talking about the crime. We're not going to go into that, because if you want to Google what happened, she killed him out of self-defense. What I found was interesting is that when she went to prison, a lot of people say that they found Jesus in jail or in prison, or found Allah if they became a Muslim. I found it interesting that she didn't really say that she found Jesus. It was more so that she felt as though he had never really left, and that she was finally ready to listen. Because so when she was in prison, of course, she had to slow down. When she was out, when she was, on the streets and stuff, she was living her life in the way that someone on the streets would live their life. But when she was in prison, she had no choice but to slow down. She had an interesting outlook on things. She was like, if someone is saying, you can never do this, she's like, I'm going to do it twice and take pictures. And she even got her degree, because remember, she didn't finish going to high school. So she got her GED in prison, and she also got her degree in something, a college degree in prison. An interesting story.
I forgot what that was.
What?
No, what her degree was. I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot too. It's funny, not haha funny, but like kind of weird funny. Yeah. So she went for an appeal for her sentencing, like to at least get it cut down. And the DA or DEA, whatever they are. DA, yeah. For her, basically convinced the judge, no. Just no. And the next day, when she goes into college, because the college is at the prison, guess who her teacher is? The DA. So she's like, I had to like kind of bite her tongue and stuff, because okay, this woman I'm not particularly fond of, and the reason why I'm going to be stuck in here for the rest of my life basically is also my professor. So
and about watching a person like a hawk.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting though that she actually decided to go to college, because if you think about it, if
what
you're going to be in there,
do?
Yeah, but when you get out of prison, like if in your mind when I get out of prison I'm going to be like 60 years old, what are you going to do with the degree? So the only thing she had left was clemency, and she's like 0.01% of people who apply for clemency get it.
When you further get to know the law, that's why when you're going to school, you're getting to know the law, or whatever else it is in degrees that you go for. You got the time to do it now.
In my mind, I probably would have been defeated.
What if they train you at least a little bit on something? No, they wouldn't.
Her story starts getting traction in around 2000. This is 2018, so around 2016, 17. I hadn't heard about any of this, because when she had gone into jail, we were like kids. So she notices that people are looking into this, and people are sending her letters, for encouragement, asking her how she's doing, stuff like that. And she's getting like hundreds of letters now. And it got to be so big that people wanted to bring in a mayor in her town, like elect a mayor who was willing to give her clemency. She was finally awarded clemency in April, I think, of this year. She got clemency sometime this year, but she wasn't immediately released because they had to...
I thought that was last year.
No, it was this year. Clemency hearing. Yeah, that's the hearing. But she didn't get it until 2018. She didn't get it until 2000. See, granted, January 2018. You're not wrong. Like, it started in 2018, and she was granted clemency in January of 2019, and she was finally released in that's her husband in 2000 August. But when we saw him, he had dreads, like he had. Possibly. We had a private conversation about it. But yeah, I appreciate that she never stayed down, because if I was in her position, I'd be like, okay, screw it. Life just don't like me. Life ain't for me. And that's okay. So this was a really good book. I wouldn't call it inspirational, because she didn't write it in a way that would be inspirational. And I'm glad that she didn't, because this is her life. Her life shouldn't be an inspirational tool for other people. People should be able to gain inspiration from hearing the things that she was able to overcome. But her life shouldn't be an inspirational cup or something for other people to look at in the morning. Yeah. Also, I like that she brought out basically any girl can be put in this position. Any girl can be made to feel, and guy, any boy can be. So watch your sons too. Any child can be made to feel as though what an adult is doing to them is okay, because they love them. And once they're in that position, that's when they start being groomed. And once they're being groomed, they can be trafficked. Because she was a smart kid. She was in an honors program. And then stuff started going downhill for her. And so it's like, your child could be extremely smart. Your child could be extremely fidelis. You know, they can be all these wonderful things, but then someone gets in their ear, and now they're questioning themselves, they're questioning you, they're questioning their personal morality, and now they're in a position where they're doing things that they don't really want to do, but they feel as though there's no way out. Especially if the only relationship they've ever seen is their parents, and their parents are old. So it's easy to say, well, this is just how old people are. You know, maybe when they were young, maybe they went through this too. As opposed to saying, no, this is a bad thing. This thing should not happen. So, but once again, this has been a review for Free Cyntoia by Cyntoia Brown-Long. Thank you.
Cyntoia Brown-Long.
Yep, Brown is her name, Long is her husband's name, so Cyntoia Brown-Long.
Either way.
Yeah, so people know, like, because, you know, some parents have their
yes.
They have both their parents' name. Even black people do that sometimes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like,
she's part black, so it doesn't matter.
We just don't have to claim all of her, because this
it's everything regardless of which, because
we claim it all as Cyntoia, because we can't give it to anybody else. Yeah, she's ours.
She's a person. She's human.
She's coming to the cookout, because, you know,
we'll cook out.
Our cookout.
We having the cookout?
It's been so good talking to you all. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe.
No.
Bye, Bookends.
When is this cookout? You gotta let me know.